What'd you think of Jimmy Garoppolo in this game?
I
He's a
thought it
hero
was
right
kind
now.
of yeah.
Be
I thought
careful.
it was kind of a microcosm of Jimmy Garoppolo's career, like, dare I say, because there were so many things in that game, and I don't think, like, the analysis is as simple as, "Oh, like, I heard you say Garoppolo's the arsonist and the firefighter." I don't think he was both of them per
It was a
se,
good
like,
line,
I
though.
think right, I think the ebbs and flows of that happens in every game, and it
Yeah.
happens more or less with
Yes.
other
Most
quarterbacks. With
quarterbacks.
Garoppolo, it's
Yes.
a bigger extreme
Yeah.
because I've called him high risk, medium reward.
I
That's
like
kinda
that.
what he
I
is.
like that. Yeah,
That's
that's true.
kinda what he is, but,
Yeah.
he played pretty poorly for a large portion of this game. I don't think that should be, taken out of control. It felt like
Second pick
one
was bad.
throw would be a strike, and then the very next
Yeah.
throw we'd be talking about his thumb. Is his thumb bothering him? It felt like that was going on during this game. But the one thing you can't take away from him is no timeouts left, on the road, season on the line. You need a touchdown to tie the game, and to go 88 yards like that down the field, that was legendary. That's one of the great drives in 49ers history. To
It was.
me, that was a legendary drive.
Well, hold on real
He
quick. He did it in Nashville, now that the
Yeah,
defense didn't hold, but he's tied the game. He did it in
right.
Cincinnati. He did it in
Yeah,
Seattle, but didn't finish it. He did it
yeah,
against Green Bay. He's done it like 5 times this year.
yeah, and
Didn't do
he
it in
did
the
it in
Super
20
Bowl, but
he did
maybe
it in
he will this year if
2019
they get
too.
there.
Yeah,
Maybe he
'cause
will.
and this is what he does, right? Like, it's this is where the Eli Manning comparison comes
Yes.
in, right? Because he could play so
Moves
poorly, and then you
around
put the game
40.
on the line.
Yes. It's amazing. It's amazing.
But to be fair, like, right, that drive was legendary. My impressions of him is, do I think it changes much? No. I think you have to look at the entirety of the picture here,
Yeah.
and I think, the recency bias and the fan in me just is so ecstatic because what he did was absolutely special. Like, to go
And they
down
were
the
down
field, and
17-0.
this was, to me, it was different from the Tennessee drive because the Tennessee drive, you had
It was Debo.
maybe pushed off, and
It was Debo.
he had a
Yeah.
big play that really
Yeah.
put it. This one, he made big time throw after big time throw. Especially
Yeah.
they had the one throw
He
to
did.
Debo for
That was
the
crazy.
one big play to Debo, in this one that was, to me, a spectacular throw.
Probably the
You
best
have
throw of the year from Jimmy. That was great.
Yeah, you have
That
cover
was great.
six, and you basically, which is cover two to the boundary, and you have Jalen Ramsey as the flat defender,
Yeah.
and he's sinking on the route, and
It was
Jimmy
nice.
still put it on him.
It was
Big
nice.
time throw.
Big time throw.
And yeah,
It was
I
nice.
can't give him anything but props because he did what he had to, but at the same time, I think if you look at the entirety of the picture, you still have to say that he's still the quarterback that he's always been.
Yes.
And I go back, and to me, it would have been even more legendary if the Niners ended it on the first drive of overtime. I thought they would go down the field and score a touchdown. And Shanahan had it ready to go. After all those first down runs, hammering run on first down, they called that RPO. You have Deebo Samuel on a little glance route. He's one. If you hit him in stride, he's one-on-one with the safety. Jordan Fuller got hurt earlier in this game. There's no way that backup safety is tackling Deebo Samuel in the open field. He probably scores on that play. Jimmy sadly missed him. He did convert like 3 third downs on that drive though, to then take them down the field, kick the field goal. So you do have to give him credit for that. But it was it's a wild ride. It's always been a wild ride. I feel like, as a fan, I keep losing years off my life every time I watch the 49ers play with Garoppolo because we go through, Jesse Naylor's favorite cycle. I feel like we go through that cycle in every game. Jimmy makes a bad throw, bench Jimmy. Jimmy comes back and leads them down the field. We love Jimmy. Jimmy makes a bad throw. It's a rinse repeat cycle. It's a vicious cycle with him.
I thought was so interesting about his performance is that, his last 2 performances, Tennessee and this game, I think most fans would feel that, if they were grading Jimmy in Tennessee, they'd give him an F. I gave him an F.
Mm-hmm.
I think most fans would. And then for this game, I think most fans would give him an A. I gave him a B, and I think most fans would give him an A. But what's crazy is if you, the day after you just look at the box scores, he put up the same numbers. It's the same stat line. 300-plus yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, plus a third potential turnover that he fortunately escaped, and a missed long throw.
No, the point
and a clutch drive at the end. And it just shows you that whether you win or lose, really,
it really matters because
colors
it's
your
the
opinion
point.
of a guy. When really, the QBR for both performances was exactly the same, 46.1, down to the decimal. So just like a non-passionate, non-biased algorithm saw C- from both performances, which is so interesting to me. So interesting.
And I think your point about the Armstead stat making all the sack at the end of regulation making all the difference is absolutely the point, because we talked about how the evaluation is so result oriented, right?
Right.
In the
Right.
case that with 37 seconds, Stafford took them down the field, Matt Gay hits a game winning field goal. The discourse surrounding the 49ers and them not making the playoffs immediately moves towards why didn't Kyle Shanahan play Trey Lance? Sure, Jimmy took them down the field, but it took him to have quarters to play well. It's the same exact discourse.
That's what happened in Tennessee.
Right.
The narrative in Tennessee was they couldn't overcome his mistakes, but the narrative in this game was he overcame his mistakes. Right? Yes.
Right.
Yes. When really, in Tennessee, as great as the defense was, they couldn't make a play on the final drive. In this game, for whatever reason, Eric Armstead did. Second play, sack, goodbye, see you later, overtime. Like, had he done that in Tennessee, maybe the Niners win that game in overtime.
Absolutely. And I don't want to sound it like I'm trying to discredit him, right? Because what he did, again, it was legendary.
Yeah.
That will forever be remembered.
And it's like the fifth time he's done it this year. Fourth, he was close to a fifth. It's legendary. He is clutch for sure. I just think it's interesting that it was the same performance as last week, and what happened circumstantially around him totally colors your opinion.
It turns it from the Tennessee game to the Cincinnati game.
He wasn't the whole reason they lost. And maybe in this game, he's not the whole reason they won. Maybe it's a team sport.
Right. It is a team sport. Maybe. And it goes back to the Tennessee game, right? The Tennessee game I didn't get to watch live because of family circumstances. So I just watched it with an objective viewing after on like a Tuesday. And I know the result. And he played very poorly in that game for the first 3.5 quarters. Then you get to the fourth quarter and he takes them down the field in overtime. He takes them down the field in the last drive, and he's making big throw after big throw. I mean, it is kind of the experience with him, which is why, because he's won more than he's lost. He's by a considerable amount, to be fair to him. He's got a great record, though I don't believe wins are a quarterback stat, is why you have fans that are so adamant at just looking at the positive parts of his play, because I don't know if we can actually get one of those games. I feel like he's had one in his career where every throw has just been great and it's been a great game, and that was the Arizona game. We get very few like those. Every game is just an experience with him. The Arizona game in 2019 on Halloween.
Look, okay, I just want to say, though, he's got to do better. Like, this isn't enough. This isn't good enough. It was good enough against the Rams. It wasn't good enough against the Titans. You got to stop turning the ball over multiple times and stop.
Yeah. No,
stop
absolutely.
It.
Absolutely.
Please. But yeah, that was really cool what he did. But the reason I'm a little skeptical on like the whole Niners going to the Super Bowl thing is him still. And if he can raise his game a little bit, then I still think this team is the Super Bowl roster they thought it was. Clearly.
I agree. And I think the skepticism comes from him. People will say the defense, but I just don't think the defense can continue to get the kind of stops that they need to, so that he can go win it for you at the end, because
the cornerbacks are the weakness, right? 2 picks yesterday, 5 sacks, 2.4 yards per carry. That's a nice defense. I'm not worried about the defense. To me, this is arguably the best roster in the league, and they limped into the playoffs. They came down to the wire. Why? Well, because of this guy, because of their quarterback, because the most important player on the team isn't up to it. He isn't as good as the supporting cast. Maybe people would disagree with that, but maybe he can prove me wrong. In these last few, he's got a chance.
They got a real good shot.
They match up right here.
They match up really well across the board with all these teams too.